said depth of audience is greater than width of audience.
Hello everyone, welcome to the 12th episode of our podcast Pepper Spotlight. My name is Pawan Rochwani, and in this show we talk to some of the brightest minds from the content ecosystem, some of the brightest and the most genius content creators. And today we are going to speak to Divyanshu Damani, who is the co-founder of TagMango, and how they are empowering the entire ecosystem for creators and in general uplifting the whole creative economy of the country. Before we get into the conversation, I just want to share this as a message that please take care of yourself. Stay indoors. If you're stepping out for any urgent or emergency situations, please wear a mask, maintain social distancing. The second wave out there looks really tough and difficult. So just take care of yourself and your loved ones as much as you can. Um, in the middle of all this pandemic and the crisis situation that we are into, just two great news that came in before the release of this episode was Pepper Content co-founders were mentioned in the Forbes 30 under 30 list, and along with them, Divyanshu Damani, who is also the guest on this episode, is also mentioned in that list. So double congratulations, and this is a even more special episode because it's being released just one day after this Forbes announcement. So super happy about it, and congratulations to Divyanshu and the entire team. Let's deep dive into this conversation with him about what he thinks about the entire ecosystem and also some questions about how he approaches content creation as a creator. This conversation with him was pre-recorded, so you'll listen to our conversation, which was recorded over Zoom call from here on. Thank you so much, Divyanshu, for giving us your time today and doing this conversation with us about all things around content, what's happening in the creator ecosystem. And I think someone like you who is connected to a lot of creators is a creator himself. It's going to be very interesting to chat with you today.
Awesome. Thanks, Pawan, for calling me. Thanks to the Pepper content team. You guys are doing some really exciting work. I am really looking forward to what you guys are going to build and even the kind of work you're doing today as well.
Super, man. I think this is like a usual question that we start all our podcast conversations with, where we ask the guests as to if you are in a group of strangers and if you want to introduce yourself, what do you how would you introduce yourself
A
to a group
group
of
of
strangers?
what? A
A
group
group
of
of strangers.
group of strangers, and I had to introduce myself.
Hmm.
Sweet man. So hey guys, I'm Divyanshu Damani. I am a really passionate and driven individuals, and I love doing different things and disrupting different industries. I'm the founder of this company called TagMango. We are a creator monetization platform. We help creators make money. We build business tools for creators so that they can build communities on our platform and make money by directly engaging with their audience. Also, Y Combinator back startup. Along with that, I've been a digital creator since 2018 for the last 3-4 years. Started off my journey as a digital creator myself, build content around communication, entrepreneurship. Used to do talk shows as well with other youth icons and entrepreneurs. So a bunch of cool things on the content creation bit. Along with that, guys, like very quickly, there are other parts to my personality other than just the work front. I'm a big adventure enthusiast. So I love scuba diving. I'm professionally trained in scuba diving. I'm professionally trained in skiing. I play the sport of polo. I love music. So I'm listening to music day in, day out. All the time, even while I'm working, I'm listening to music. I am a very big reader. So I love reading books. And I think one of the key changes to my personality has been brought about by books. And lastly, I love the wildlife. I love going on wildlife trips to national parks and sanctuaries, primarily, and I've gotten that from my dad, who is a huge wildlife fan. So if you're a stranger now, I think you know me pretty well enough.
Just a small disclaimer to everyone who's watching this or listening this I did not tell Divyanshu that this is going to be the first question. This like he has this well prepared maybe already. But
Correct.
Divyanshu
If I was to go and someone asked me in an interview, tell me something about yourself, I know what to answer now. It's well prepared now. I've practiced it well in this interview.
Tell me, I'm just because thinking about interviews, and when I was sitting for my engineering college placement, this is the first question that they asked me. Uh, Tell us, walk us through about where did you grew up, which school, college did you go through, and where have you spent most of your time in life?
Awesome. So I've born, brought up, all my education is primarily from this wonderful city of Calcutta, Kolkata as we now call it. I've studied from this school, Don Bosco. I've born, brought up in a traditional like Marwadi family. So we've come from a business background. I've always seen entrepreneurship from day zero, from the time I was born and looking at my dad build multiple businesses. Simultaneously, I think school has been extremely impactful for me. Um, a large part of my personality today is because of the things I did back in school and a large part of things that I did back in college. I was extremely extroverted while in school. I used to participate in all kinds of competitions. I mean, when I say all kinds of competitions, I mean like all kinds of competitions because I was the guy who used to raise his hand for every opportunity out there, even if it is a debate competition to an ambassador. Whatever used to come my way, I used to pick up my hand and say that, hey, let's go for it. What's the harm if I don't even do well in it? um, Apart from that, learned a lot of leadership skills, was school captain, good in academics. So was kind of the guy whose other parents used to say like be more like Divyanshu, and I used to get kicked by my friends because I was good at acads and extracurriculars too. But I think school was a major reason why I have been able to do whatever I am doing today. And then I did not have a really good experience with my board exam results. Was thinking of moving out of the city. Was going planning to go to either one of the colleges at DU, but could not make it to those colleges. However, stayed back, studied at St. Xavier's, did BBA out of there. Again, college. I my approach to college was very simple. I said that, hey, I don't want to do the usual things that every college student does. That was my principle when I got into college, and I was like, हाथ पैर मार रहा था मैं कि मैं क्या करूं, what should I find, what should I explore. And I tried a bunch of things. I used to, again, same personality trait of taking up any kind of opportunity that comes in. So did a bunch of events, did a lot of business fests, MUNs, started my own venture. This was my first venture. It was a social entrepreneurship venture in college called Wake Up Kid. We used to take up a bunch of projects back in college, build a lot of content also on social awareness projects. And I think that was the seed to my entrepreneurship journey from day zero. I have never interned at any place. I've always hired interns from day zero. So don't have experience of working under someone. But I think this side of the journey also has been extremely like rewarding because I've seen so many years of leadership. And post college, I kind of stumbled upon content because at Wake Up Kid we were building content, and I had built a Facebook page back then, and that kind of translated into me building further content under my own name. I was just trying and experimenting it in the final year of my college, like the end, and put out 5 to 6 video content pieces just randomly. Did not have any clue what I was doing. And when I like graduated, I deep dived into it, looked at, hey, this looks like an interesting business opportunity also. And that is when content effectively started for me. And then one thing led to the other from there.
In this whole story, when did you yourself started to become a creator, like apart from creating content for Wake Up Kid and all the projects that you were
Sure.
doing, when did you personally
Right,
start doing
right out
that?
of college. Right out of college. So this was mid 2017 is when I thought, okay, this is a creator journey that I can effectively take. I started off with the platform Facebook. So I put out multiple content pieces, built about 200,000 followers on Facebook, garnered a decent number of viewership count. I also like built another social platform called the Soch Network. The Soch Network effectively is like the Goalcast for India. So positive news, positive content is what we used to curate and distribute through our platform. That raked about 700,000 followers on that platform. We raked over 200 million views on that platform. But again, monetization opportunities, even though I had two channels, I could not really figure those out. And I spoke with a bunch of guys in this space who were building, people from who run top pages, the Logical Indian, Scoop Whoop, and the guys who are in the space, to understand, hey, what's the juice in it? You do have the numbers, but where's the juice? And that is when I kind of identified the gap to kind of create freedom after that.
Super. And before we get into
Sure.
how you built, but I just want to go back and talk to you about during that time from
Yeah,
2017 till like right now in 2020 or
yeah,
2021. What's the broader difference that you see in the content space? I mean, you when you mentioned that you had a Facebook
yeah,
page, I realized, oh, that's like old
yeah.
age. That's like past. Today we don't talk about having
Correct.
an Facebook page. We talk about, let's say, Instagram, YouTube, or Clubhouse, all of those
Sure.
things. What do you think have been like broader changes from 2017 till now in 2020 in the content space?
Oh, ton of changes, man. It's an insane number of changes that I've seen. To begin out with, platforms have evolved, and each platform has taken up its own personality for the same. So Facebook has died. So that is the personality for Facebook right now. Instagram personality is kind of becoming, hey, I am everyone for everything, everything for everyone. And I mean, they're trying to add every single layer, but they are kind of going towards more like the TikTok kind of short form video route. Twitter, LinkedIn, all of these platforms have their own standalone personalities, and they cater to different niches, even Clubhouse for that matter. From a content angle, uh, if I divide the kind of content creators, there were um, three generations of content creators, if I may put it. One is the first generation, which is like the OG content creators, people like Bhuvan Bam and Tanmay Bhatt and AIB TVF. That kind of content, that those are the first guys who kind of introduced us to content. um, then generation two is where filter copy effectively came in, and other independent content creators like Slaypoint, and a bunch of those content creators started coming up, where storytelling formats kind of changed and evolved from the first generation. After, these were the guys who've seen the first generation building content, and then they've started kind of creating content. And now the third, and where we are at currently, is a third format which is kind of boomed, and there is no like clear semblance in terms of, I'll say, this is the pattern of content, but it's just become so diverse and so open ended. One day I was doing this panel with mostly Sane and Sejal and all of them, and I shared with them that I came across a YouTube channel where the guy just talks about parrots, the features of parrots, the different kinds of parrots. And you'll believe not, he's got over 800,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel, and he rakes like 100 to 100,000 views on every video he puts out. And his name is Parrot Dipankar. So, who would have identified a niche like that? That's a YouTube channel I came across. The guy eats fried chili chicken, and that's all he does in every single video of his. And
My God, I remember, these were TikTokers,
he
where, there was this person who ate chicken leg piece,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I think
Could be the same guy. Yeah.
his
Chicken leg piece, I
Hmm.
think so. Is the same guy.
Hmm.
Chicken leg piece, and he's building YouTube videos on that. So one really thing that has evolved is that we can't just look at content pieces from our perspective. Like, we watch a certain kind of content, but the rest of India is watching a totally different kind of content, which is not
Yeah,
even coming on a YouTube recommended video. So you'll have to really
yeah,
deep dive and find out what is that tier one, tier two, or tier three kind of audience bit looking for or searching for. And then you will find this explosion of content that you'll realize, fuck, this makes up like 70% of YouTube, to be very honest.
yeah,
And
yeah. I mean, it's like a whole rabbit hole of its
it's
own.
a
Like you
whole
just go into it.
it's a whole rabbit hole, man. There was this, oh man, I come across such YouTube channels that are so insane. There was one 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 guy who his name was Yadav, some Yadav, and he creates content for people at Bihar, and he makes these unbelievable skits. When you look at it, it looks, I mean, like, who's watching this? But he's raking it like views in millions. And I'm like, whoa, what is happening in the content ecosystem? It just blows my mind. So now I think everything's become very democratized because new audience has come in, and
Yeah,
it's the audience that is interacting with the internet for the first time.
yeah,
So that becomes a very, very interesting kind of angle to the entire content space and even how content creators are evolving.
yeah. I think, like back then, 10 years back or 15 years back,
Sure.
taking an incoming call was also
Yeah.
chargeable. From there, we went to, now where we have data so cheap, it's just like 300 rupees a month and you have like 1 GB every day,
Yeah.
whatever. And it's for everyone. I think that has really made, that second generation, third
Sure.
generation shift for everyone,
100%.
and how people are creating this kind of content
Absolutely.
and others are also consuming this kind of content.
Absolutely.
Uh, I think the most bizarre YouTube video that I, have seen, or it's just registered in my head, is, this video where it's just showing you how to boil water. Uh, and I mean, nothing is happening in this. Okay, this guy exactly, this guy just, has like a, that bowl, and puts it on the gas, pours water, and turns on gas, and that's
Yeah.
it. And it's the title is how to boil water, and that's it. There's nothing else about this video, and it's just bizarre that there are millions and millions of views about this. There are millions of subscribers to that guy, and all of those things. Um, it's just simply crazy, and I totally resonate with you how this content space has evolved entirely, which brings me to to talk about Tag Mango,
Sure.
because that's something that you say that you're creating freedom for these different creators.
Sure.
And to pick some words that you said while you were introducing yourself about building communities, creating freedom for them, uh, how really does Tag Mango do this is what I'm curious to know about.
Sure. So the basic model is that if you're a content creator and if you have even 100 people that really like your content, be it under any niche, then you can provide some kind of a service or exclusively interact with them and monetize that interaction. So let's say if there is a creator who's got 1 lakh followers on YouTube, and he or she builds a community on TagMango saying that, hey, you're going to get exclusive content here if you're a really big fan of mine, or if you've really gotten value for me, or I'm going to exclusively interact with you through live calls, through different formats of interaction. Then you can pay $100 a month and be a part of this community where we can engage in a deeper level. The problem statement that we're effectively going after is that since there is a content boom and there are so many creators that are coming up, the number of brands that are growing simultaneously is not in sync with the number of creators that are growing. And currently, the only way for creators to monetize is brand collaborations. That is what we've seen in Gen 1 and Gen 2 and how these guys have been monetizing. But a whole plethora of creators will come up and they'll have no idea how do I really make money, although I have this kind of an audience itself. And that's the problem that I faced. When I built my audience initially, it was such a different niche I was building on. I got 200,000 followers. I was raking 100,000 views on content I was creating. But brand collaborations were very early because my space was very unique and it was very niche. And primarily whoever was spending on fashion and lifestyle and those kind of content creators more than the kind of content I was building. So for me, I had this audience, but I was unable to monetize them. And similarly, a lot more creators will be come across this same problem statement of having an audience but not being able to monetize. So that's the gap that TagMango effectively fills. And we say that, hey, brand collaborations in itself have certain gaps in terms of collaboration for a creator itself, because brands can be it can be very erratic for a creator, saying that in a certain month they get 5 brands, in another month they might not get even a single brand. So we say that if you can predict your revenue for the next month, you can transition your journey from a creator to an entrepreneur, because you can predict revenue for yourself. So Start building communities, start building depth of your audience, find those 1,000 people who can pay you a small amount of money and start providing value to them every month. So that's the sell for us, and that's what we are building here at TagMango.
Sadly, there are no sponsors for the show, so we are sponsoring ourselves and promoting ourselves. Thank God, and
Best
thank
sponsor.
you for creating Tag Mango, because yes, brand solutions and brand sponsorships are difficult. Um, the million question, the series of questions that I have for you is which starts with one thing. I understand, and as being in the content space, in the creator space, we have sort of seen Patreon, Substack, Scrollstack, a
Sure,
lot of other organizations also. But something that I feel is a personal challenge for creators is to build that community and build that audience, because
sure.
it needs two things. One, to create a broader audience also, from where you will filter and bring in like an exclusivity kind of audience.
Yeah,
And second, they have to do double selling.
yeah,
In general, I feel creators, they don't want to spend a lot of time into distributing or doing sales. uh,
sure.
by the word sales, I just mean distributing and all of those things. uh, but in this case, then they have to do it twice, one for like a global broader audience and one for their exclusive audience.
Right.
And I want to understand this from you as to what have you seen the creators who are on Tag Mango, how have
Sure.
they done this effectively? I know it's a challenge for a lot of creators, so let's not go into that. But I want
Sure.
to know from you, how have some creators done this very effectively at Tag
Sure.
Mango?
Interestingly, I put out a tweet today, which said depth of audience is greater than width of audience. And when I say that, even if I look into the data of creators who are doing extremely well on TagMango, the guys who are making the most money are not people who've got millions of followers. The people who are making the most money are people who've built a niche and really strong depth around that niche. The highest earner on the platform is someone who's got about 12,000 followers on Instagram. He makes over 7 lakh rupees from the platform per month. So the depth of his audience and the relatability of that niche to his audience is what really works. So two parts to it. When when anyone starts to become a content creator, they a large part of them go for the recognition of being a content creator and yes, the money that would rake in. But the thought process that they've had all this while, that more numbers would effectively need to more money because brands would look in a very, very myopic way saying that, hey, 500,000 followers, I'm going to pay you this much money. But now the narrative is changing. And we are the ones who are changing that narrative, saying that instead of focusing on getting that 500,000 mark, you focus on the 50,000 people that are with you and you keep providing them value on the topic that you are good at and what you have been sharing all this while. And for that is why we are building this particular community itself. And there are a bunch of ways to do it in order to build a much deeper audience for yourself. So that is where the the entire, I think, how the next couple of years will pan out for the content ecosystem, especially because of companies like ours coming in, is that people will start thinking differently. That no, I'm not working on Instagram primarily for that million mark. I'm working on Instagram because I look at this as a very, very lucrative monetizable opportunity, and this is a marketing channel that I'm building uh, while I am working on Instagram, or building a community on Instagram essentially. So so that's the difference in thinking that we effectively want to bring in for every content creator out there.
Got it. Just like a small sub question on it.
It's
Have you noticed like some categories of creators have been able to do this effectively and some
sure.
have not been able to do it? Because let's say, for example, a writer is not able to monetize or build like a more deeper audience compared to a video creator.
Sure.
What is the trend that you have noticed here?
So primarily what we've seen is motivation, self-help, um, education, um, even really strong creators with a really strong cult, where it kind of even translates into fandom for that matter, are able to, and also writers with a deep audience. So Rega Jha is not on our platform, but she did a similar thing on her own, and she made a lot of money by providing one exclusive piece of content itself. So those are on the self improvement side. Yes, we are seeing a lot of traction on that side. Motivation is in very interesting space that we are effectively working on, and and the community side of YouTube. So standalone YouTubers. So that's the spread of genres on things that have not worked. So fashion, beauty has not really worked on our platform, and we did not even test that out very aggressively because that was our hunch too. Dance has not really worked out on our platform very well. Primarily, my understanding is that dance creators, dance is something that people primarily want to learn offline, and it's the being, the presence itself that kind of adds value while you're dancing, and that's the feedback I've gotten from a bunch of dance creators. Fitness is done decently well on the platform, but our focus is more on the self improvement value add content side right now.
Got it. One added advantage I feel of building an exclusive community and more like an engaged, or let's say like a close community uh, for any content creator, is that there you don't have that
For sure.
negative criticism. Uh, but I want to know from you how big of an advantage creators feel, that this is like a big advantage when they are building their profiles on Mango, or
Sure.
anything of that sort. Do they consider this as a very important benefit, or it's just something on the
Depends
side?
on which creator it is. If it is a creator who gets a lot of abuses on social media, so for example, if someone talks about politics and has controversial statements, then they are much safer behind a closed community and are wanting to interact with that community itself. The rest of the guys, if you especially want to become a bigger creator, you, if it is like standalone, some single dude trying to hate on the creator, then the creator should not be affected. If you're getting affected, then I think just work on it further on, because later down the road, as you grow bigger and bigger, it's just gonna get worse. It's not gonna get better. So you have to take care of your mental health that way. But those kind of people would see as an advantage, especially those guys who talk about politics and have controversial content on their social.
Yeah, and I think when we talked about how the whole internet and the content space has become democratic, it's not just democratic for the creators but for the
Yep.
audience also. So they're going to speak their mind irrespective of how abusive they want to be and all
Absolutely.
of those things. So I feel having that close community and creating a profile on Tag Mango is that's like a very big pointer for me in deciding whether I want to
For
be on the
sure.
platform
For
or not.
sure. I think that will definitely filter out every loser who is out there, who is just hating for the sake of
Yeah,
hating.
yeah,
That will definitely take.
exactly. And people when they pay you to be part of the community, they're not gonna pay you to just go and
Right.
comment abuses. So definitely no hater is so
मैं
dedicated that
तुमको
they'll pay
500 रुपया
money
दे रहा
and comment.
हूँ ताकि मैं अपना ईगो को सेटिस्फाई कर सकूं. That would be a, I would
Exactly.
like that hater to hate on me.
Yeah,
I
even I
want
would
those
want to,
haters for
see if
money.
that actually happens. Yeah, yeah. Moving on from conversations and topic about this, I want to know, this is something I ask a lot of entrepreneurs as to, in your past journey of entrepreneurship, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, uh, what are some things that you are grateful for? What are some things that you feel very happy about, that this journey really taught me this, and you're just grateful or thankful for
Great
it?
question, man. Great question, dude. So I practice gratitude a lot as an individual, like on a daily basis as well, which kind of falls on more towards the spiritual side. But um, there are a lot of things that I'm effectively grateful for. First thing I'm actually grateful for is um, when we started out with TagMango. Um, in the beginning, we'd gotten a call from YC. This was like 2 months into the company. We didn't even have product because both our profiles were good, both the founders' profiles. I think that's why they called us. And in that interview, I'm grateful we did not get in because we didn't know jack shit about entrepreneurship that well, especially about building a startup. I came from a content background. He came from a totally different, like web IT, traditional business building background. So the journey of those 6 months from the first YC interview to the second YC interview, and us shifting from Calcutta to Bombay, and seven guys living out for home office and building the company out of there, like that is something I will not trade for anything. Although it was one of the toughest times of our lives in terms of building it, but the amount of learning I had during that period of time was is unparalleled, and I'm extremely grateful because it totally changed me as a person. And yeah, that's gratitude number one. I think and interestingly, after that, when we applied both to YC and Techstars, we applied to both of them, and we got through both Y Combinator and Techstars. Techstars is the other startup accelerator, and we had to choose. We had to choose whether we want to go for Techstars or for YC, and then we chose YC over Techstars at that point of time. And the YC experience, I'm insanely grateful for, man. I think the amount I have even evolved in terms of my thinking as an entrepreneur, because I have always seen, I've stayed in Calcutta. There's not a lot of startups here. There's not a lot of startup entrepreneurs that I can interact with. So my circle has been very limited that way, and my exposure has been very limited that way. If I had studied in Bangalore or in Delhi or any other place, then it would have been a totally different ball game. So because of that lack of exposure, startups run very, very differently. And that learning for me came deeply from YC. And before this, we were doing a totally different business model. We were kind of connecting influence nano micro influencers with brands. We made a very hard pivot back then. Even after we were like doing extremely good revenue, we were working with over 100 brands. But Michael Seibel, the YC CEO, I had like multiple meetings with Michael Seibel. मतलब हम क्वेश्चन पूछते पूछते both of us reach Michael Seibel's home कि हम लोगों को क्या करना चाहिए घर जाके हम लोग उसका पीछा ही नहीं छोड़ रहे कि अब बताओ हम लोगों को क्या होना चाहिए and we were playing with this kid as well. But the entire YC experience I'm supremely grateful for. Um, the third thing, bro, I think the team, man, my co-founder, my team, those dudes are a bunch of such driven guys that kind of make me feel that I am doing less. So having that um, kind of support system, when you have that within your team, it's just mind blowing. You can just do insane things. If so, I'm extremely grateful for the co-founder that I have and the team that we've built at TagMango, and we're currently building as well. And yeah, man, every single experience, I think if I keep going on, we'll keep talking and I'll keep adding more and more points of gratitude. But these are like the top three things that come to my mind in terms of the entrepreneurial journey that I've been working on.
Got it. Here's my second last question to you, and again, this is a little on the
Yeah.
non-technical side because uh, when I see very passionate and highly motivated folks like you, I tend to ask them this question that what really drives you every day to keep doing what you do? Because it's something that I'm very curious to know from people. It can be specific goals about you want to make your company reach here or you want to do this, but just want to know out of curiosity what is something that drives you every day.
Even I keep asking myself this question, man, to think about it much, much deeper in terms of what's the real drive. Um, but like the question I've come across, the answer that I've come across till now, I'll tell you that. I think a large part of that is is privilege. So I come from a privileged background, and my dad has been someone who's already like always instilled in me the values to learn to empathize with others and understand that hey, food to eat, you've got a roof over your head, you've got Wi-Fi, you've got all the comforts that you can possibly think of. You're living the best life that anyone can think of in this entire world. So just being aware of that privilege and learning to empathize with others is what has been my drive from day one. And I would say like my dad has played an insane role, the most important role in instilling that within me, because he always keeps reminding me that, Divyanshu, you have always two choices to make. uh, Number one, you can decide upon living a mediocre life where you effectively get little bit of everything, little bit of happiness, little bit of sadness, like 99% of the people on this planet effectively live. But if you truly want to do something extraordinary with your life, then you really have to think differently and do things that are extremely different than what other people are doing. And that, since day zero, has been because I've been so impressioned by what my dad effectively says, that has become my inherent drive. So I want to really do something that impacts a large number of people in their lives. And that feeling at every step of the journey, be it through my content creation journey, through the things that I build through my entrepreneurial journey, is what kind of gives me satisfaction. There is a creator on our platform. He used to make 30,000 bucks per month the first month on our platform, and he is from a tier 3 city. He's got his own kids and not a very strong background. The first month on the platform, he's already made a lakh from the platform. He's 3x'd the amount of money he effectively makes per month. His entire life has changed. The way he thinks about education for his children, the way he thinks about medicines for his parents, every single piece has changed. And that kind of satisfaction, I mean, it's unparalleled, man. When you know that you have the power to impact someone on such a deeper level, it's just unbelievable. So that, I feel, has kind of become the drive, and is the drive that really keeps us going.
Yeah, and I think that's a great, the example really tells us how broader an impact your organization is creating. So it's really, really, and thank you for answering that. I am not sure if you were comfortable answering that or not, but it's just out of curiosity that I wanted to know that. This brings me to my last question, and this is something that I want to know. What would you, let's say top three tips that you would want to give to content creators as of April 2021, considering these platform scenarios that we have? There's Clubhouse, there's Twitter Spaces, all of these things. What are
Uh,
like three tips that you would want to give to content creators?
Three tips. Number one is go multi-platform. Don't stick to one platform. I made that mistake. I did not translate my Facebook audience to my Instagram, LinkedIn, whichever platform was existing back then. I lost on the audience, which was a bad thing to happen. Those guys who lost their audience on TikTok because TikTok got banned, it's fuck. It's a really bad feeling. So go multi-platform. A second is find platforms that are currently giving you organic reach and double down upon that. Once you've built your existing audience, then you work closer on your content piece. So think like a marketeer when you're thinking like a content creator, that what is going to really pick up and get me that audience. Once you have an existing audience, then you build the any kind of content that you effectively want to build and share what you want to build. So right now, those platforms would be Instagram Reels. Go really bullish on Reels because it's giving you insane organic reach. Second is LinkedIn. There is a certain format of content pieces that are really working on LinkedIn because less than 5% are creating, 95% are consuming. A third is Twitter. If you can hack the Twitter game, a lot of audience is moving to the Twitter kind of an audience set. I'm still kind of, if you are an entrepreneur or really a content creator, I'm not too sure about Clubhouse and Twitter Spaces, but Twitter Spaces definitely you can something. But Clubhouse you can still check. I'm not too sure in terms of how much organic traffic you can drive through Clubhouse, but you can really network very well on Clubhouse. So that's a different kind of skill. So these are three platforms: so LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram Reels. YouTube is a slow growth; it's a slow burner. You can put out content for the long run on YouTube, but I would recommend going through these platforms first and solidifying a base somewhere. The third, and I think the most valuable piece of tip I can effectively give, is that don't think like a content creator, think like an entrepreneur. Your content is your product, your audience is your customer, Likes, comments is are your data points. um, think like how you can even I can even go to the extent and say that even if you want to put in some ad budget and get your first piece of content pushed out to a certain set of audience, there is nothing wrong in that. It's just called reaching out to more people so that you're more visible. And think of that investment as the way people invest in other companies itself. So think of it as a marketing expense. So think like an entrepreneur. Think of monetization from day zero itself and reach out to TagMango for that. And that is, and always be selling. That's why I've made that integration of TagMango at the end. But
No,
these are the three tips I'll give for content creators and how they should go about thinking about this.
so not only you, we are also going to plug the TagMango website and your social handles into the description of this
Awesome.
episode
I love
when
it.
we when we share it on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everywhere across. So we are also going to do that plugin. But I really want to thank you for giving us your thoughts and time into this conversation.
Yes,
Um, I think it just helps a lot of creators who are connected to Pepper and the audience that we have for this show. They would be
good stuff.
really intrigued by the insights that you have shared, and hopefully reach out to you as well for more suggestions or tips that they need about content creation and about the whole ecosystem.
Awesome, man. I really love the questions that you asked. I think it was a really well thought, and you're a great host because you kind of piggyback on questions and answers that the other person is sharing. So it's it's more like it has to be more like a conversation and less like an interview per se. So good stuff, man. Kudos to you. Kudos to Pepper Content. Kudos to Anirudh. Keep kicking ass, guys. I love it when, like, my core thing is that I want more and more entrepreneurs to come out in the next 5 years, because entrepreneurship is what's going to drive our country and really transform it. Nothing else. Politics can't, culture can't. It's entrepreneurship. That's the answer. So more and more entrepreneurs need to come out. I just love it when entrepreneurs do well. That's like my kick. But keep going for it, man. Awesome. Thanks so much for having me over.
Thank you. And what we'll do is we'll have a more candid conversation over like an IG live session, maybe sometime
Oh, man.
next week. But thank you so much, Divyanshu, once again for giving us your time.
Cheers, Pawan. Have a good one.
I hope you all enjoyed this conversation with Divyanshu. We will be doing an IG live or a LinkedIn live with Divyanshu. So just head to @pepper underscore content. If you have any suggestions, recommendations about what questions we should ask, what should we do, whom should we invite as the next guest on Pepper Spotlight, just feel free to hit us a DM and we reply to all our DMs. So anytime you want to send us some appreciation our way, or even if you want to rant about something, we are happy listening to the rants also. So just go ahead, hit a DM at pepper underscore content, and we'll reply back to you guys with positive vibes, not with other rants, because there's so much of ranting already. Um, Pepper Spotlight is a weekly podcast show. New episodes release every Wednesday on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Hubhopper, any app that you have and you listen your podcast on. You will find us over there. If you don't find us, just Google us and you will find it over there. If not, just come to our social handles and over there you can find these episodes. Thank you so much once again, and just a reminder that please take care of yourself, take care of your loved ones, and stay indoors. Thank you.